Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. We are back with the one and only Professor M D Nalapat. Professor Nalapat, welcome to PGurus channel.
Thank you, Sri. Always a pleasure and a privilege to be with you.
Sir, your presence lights up this channel. I can't tell you in words what a joy and pleasure it is when you are with us. And today's topic is very, very important in the light of coronavirus post, as we are starting to get to the post coronavirus situation. And we are today going to talk about the labor reforms that are being implemented by the states in India. And it's very important to look at the first one because this is the largest state population wise, perhaps has some of the biggest challenges. And yet the chief minister of Uttar Pradesh, Yogi Adityanath, took a bold move, and he said that for 3 years all the labor laws are going to be set aside. However, there has been a challenge in PIL in the High Court. This is fine. This is how democracy works. Anything that the government does is going to get challenged. The question is how quickly can that be addressed, and then life has to move on. I'm sure this thing is going to be dealt with quickly. But to get a little bit more perspective, when states open up like this, what are the positives that India can look forward to? Let's hear from Professor Nalapat. Professor Nalapat, it's your floor.
Look, I want to say one thing very clearly, Sri, and that is that, there is often an organized effort to torpedo anything that happens in India through the going to the judicial system with with a lot of information which is half-baked or unbaked or falsely baked. And the reality is that we have a wonderful judicial system. We have very good judges who are, extremely, in a sense, kind-hearted, I may say. And therefore, they feel, all right, let's give this man a chance. I mean, in a democracy, everybody's given a chance. All the 1.29 billion people of India individually need to be given a chance. So then what happens is that a lot of cases get accepted, which in most other countries would be rejected at the beginning stage itself. Now, this goes up the line. The Supreme Court in India listens to a lot more cases than it possibly, its very distinguished judges would like to. The reason is this very kind-hearted nature of the Indian judiciary. It's, when somebody comes forward and says, okay, we have got this objection, but take this particular instance. Look, this is a sovereign action by an elected state government, elected with a huge majority. Now, this sovereign action, any individual with a postcard, unfortunately in the Indian system, can try and upset that sovereign action. One gentleman with a postcard, and if let us say he's a gentleman belonging to a party that has a vested interest in seeing that the BJP fails, that Prime Minister Modi fails, that Yogi Adityanath, who's the Chief Minister, fails, well, then I can assure you there'll be a lot of people who will give him a substantial degree of help. Let's put it that way. I'm not saying anything negative or bad. I'm simply saying a lot of people will be sympathetic to him because there are a lot of people who would like to see Modi fail, who would like to see Adityanath fail, who would like to see the BJP fail. And on what issue? On the issue of the economy. I was confident Modi will come to power. I was confident for a very long time, right from 2006. And the reason for that was I studied him from around 2002. 2001, 2002, by about from the middle of 2002 on the economy. In fact, I remember our Sunday Guardian, we did a 20-page supplement on Gujarat, which largely focused on the way Modi was handling the Gujarat economy. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And as a consequence of that, people say, oh, it's because of his, so-called hate tactics, which is rubbish. Oh, it's because of some, the so-called appealing to Hindutva, which again is true. But the main point is that the average citizen in India, and in fact, most of the citizens in India are attracted by a doer, a person who can get things done. And what is the thing they want done? They want a better life. Rahul Gandhi, I want to say quite frankly, I really both Mrs. Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi, my feelings for them are very different from my feelings for Sonia Gandhi, I can tell you. And Rajiv Gandhi in particular was a wonderful human being, a really wonderful human being. Rahul is the son of of Rajiv Gandhi. So look, it's difficult for me to summon up, the kind of whatever feelings about Rahul that some others have. I'm not sure about you, but some others have. But I want to say that that comment of his on a suit boot sarkar, it basically was illustrative of the fact that the economic policies of our country, economic policies followed by a large section, which is the Bible of a large section of the political class, are precisely the policies that keep India in poverty. I mean, Garibi Hatao ceases to be attractive the minute there are no Garibs. There have to be Garibs for Garibi Hatao to be popular.
Right.
So you need policies which ensure Garibi. And then what happens is that's not a very difficult process, Sri. It's a very easy process because every policy has to go through multi layers of the bureaucratic system. When PM Modi came, when CM Modi became PM Modi, one of the first things I think I heard was that look, the layers of the file moving up and down the system are going to be shortened to much shorter than what it is now. Instead of 20 layers, it will be 2 or 3. Instead of 6 months, or even 3 months, it will be 3 days or even 3 hours. I mean, that is what the country needs. You need a lot of these unnecessary layers to be ended. Otherwise, this thing of a file going from top to bottom, back to the bottom, back to the top, then again to the middle, and middle sensor to the bottom, 100 times over. It's like some kind of a race, a 100-yard dash, in which the runners keep running the 100 yards 100 times, and each time their speed gets slower and slower, and finally the country has the speed of the 100th lap, not the first lap. You understand?
Right.
So it's very easy for corrupt people to incentivize a few corrupt officials to make certain comments or put some regulations or put some technicalities that can ensure that a policy gets distorted or paralyzed. It's the easiest thing in the world to do that. And it possibly may not even take a lot of money. I don't know how much is the average bribe, for an officer of different levels. But from the point of view of the person making the bribe, it's probably a small amount of money compared to the profit he would make from stopping a measure which would prevent his monopoly or which would ensure that a more competitive competitor who is not a crony capitalist will do better. So the system in India is like a minefield, and honest officers have to go through that minefield virtually every day. And what happens? They somehow cross the minefield, and 5, 10 years later, if they have stepped on some very powerful and corrupt toes, lo and behold, some technicality, some file they noting which was not, which had no T or an I dotted, will be used against them. And honest officers are crucified by the anti-corruption agencies. If you're telling me that the anti-corruption agencies comprise 100% of people who are not corrupt, well, Sri, I hope that's true. I really pray that you're right and the anti-corruption agencies are 100% not corrupt. But my estimate is around 15% of about 85% of the bureaucracy is overall not corrupt. I mean, a bit here and there, but not corrupt. Looking at the situation, about 15% is corrupt, about 2 or 3% is very corrupt, and of that, about 1% is very deviously corrupt. And that 1% is expert at manipulating files, manipulating technicalities, manipulating regulations, manipulating laws in such a way that certain vested interests get looked after for. And unfortunately, this 1% is usually the 1% that most charms the average politician in India. I don't know if it is the cologne that they put on themselves. I don't know if it is the the clothes they wear. I don't know if it is their way, their accent while speaking, but I have noticed a large scatter of people in the higher and higher echelons of bureaucracy come from this 1% of the bureaucracy that is deviously expert at ensuring that the vested interests that make them very well off in, of course, outside the radar are protected. This is the problem in India. And frankly, I've been very frustrated. I've told you once before, I remember, even that, I'm sorry, but Prime Minister Modi has a lot of trash, working, I mean, under him. A
Yes,
lot
you
of
have.
trash. I use the word trash, and I meant such people. You understand? So
Yes.
today, after seeing Modi's speech on his big bang, stimulus, I said, "Thank God, this is the Modi I've been having faith in from 2006 onwards. This is the Modi that actually from 2011 onwards, I was openly saying is going to be the next Prime Minister of India. And from 2006 to that period, I was saying should be the Prime Minister of India. In 2011, frankly, when that Modi supplement came out in Sunday Guardian, I was open about it. That yes, he is going to be the PM. That supplement was to basically herald the arrival of Prime Minister Modi in the next election. But till then, I was very clear that he should be the Prime Minister. And I want to say one thing, Sri. I have never wavered in that belief. A large number of people have, in fact, mocked me for it. A large number of people have questioned my motives. A large number of people have questioned my intelligence. It's not very difficult because I'm not one of the world's smartest people. But the reality is, I have never budged from that loyalty, in a sense, to my belief that PM Modi is the best PM for India by a long chalk. And he's a historic PM. And I can tell you for the first time that speech he made, and after that, what followed after that. Yes, there are frankly a lot of, if I may say so, bureaucratic grenades in that, a few bureaucratic landmines in that. But overall, I can tell you a lot of the reforms that have been carried out, and more than the financial situation, the reforms that have been carried out. For example, decriminalization. You and I have talked how easy it is to send someone to jail.
Right.
You talk about freedom of speech. I mean, you're lucky to be in a country protected by the First Amendment. Our First Amendment was designed precisely to strip the protection from us of free speech.
True.
That's the difference between India and the United States. Anybody with a postcard and a bad intention can create problems, can file fake cases. And as I told you, our judiciary is so large-hearted that okay, this man has come, he's put all the trouble together to give 400 pages on why Nalapat is this and Nalapat is that. That pages are bunkum, the pages are inspired, but okay, I haven't read the pages yet, let's give him a chance. And frankly, I again repeat, I wish our judges would be a little less kind-hearted and a little less accommodating of all the cases they admit at all the levels, and in which case we'll have greater speed. But I just want to say, PM Modi, in my estimation, I am seeing now Modi escape the toils of a bureaucratic structure where the higher you go, the more you swim in the dirty waters of corruption.
Now you see these challenges. These are like an onion, you keep peeling off one layer. There's one more layer to peel and one more layer to peel, which is what makes Yogi Adityanath's efforts in UP all the more commendable. In my opinion, sir, please hear me out here. He had to take on an administration which was very kindly towards one section of the society and one particular religion, and these people had a free pass, and he had to rein them in, act on them, bring them to heel, make them all follow the law. That was the first challenge he had. After that, when we saw all these riots last year, he was the first one to throw the gauntlet and said, you commit, you destroy community property, you pay for it. No other state had that gumption to do it, and he did that. So we should appreciate him for all those things, and let's hope that this new initiative where he has started the ball rolling on labor reforms also gets caught on by the other states. We want a healthy competition. We want all the states to vie for new businesses, and may the best state win. I'd like to also add this point that Modi ji can also do the same thing, because a lot of public sector undertakings have lands all over India. They can also be fertile grounds for incubation. Professor Nalapat, you wanted to say something?
Look, I want to say that, Yogi Adityanath has obviously got the full support of Prime Minister Modi.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, don't tell me, Dr. Swami is, in my view, one of the world's biggest crusaders against corruption, And I can say very clearly, I mean, I have no idea about it, but I can say very clearly that if the green light for ensuring that Mr. Chidambaram spends 110 days in a location where he doesn't have to pay for the roof over his head and for the food he eats, I think the green light had to come from the very top.
Yes.
If there was no green light from the top, I don't think that would have happened, no matter how much effort all of us have put in. And my hope now is that that green light is going to shine brightly on a broader anti-corruption crusade. And I do have, I mean, if Chidambaram can land in jail, and hopefully he is going to be caught up in other cases. There are a lot of other cases which are much bigger cases. There are a lot of institutions which frankly have functioned in a very odd way, and in which the so-called regulatory and investigative agencies have been very lax. And I think, I mean, one has to look into why they have been so lax. The good news, Sri, is that the United States today is ready to be a partner with India in the fight against corruption, because they know that they have to deal with a system which has to be broadly honest if they want a high-tech partnership with India. If you let go your, the crown jewels of your technology, you want to make sure it's not stolen or sold. Some people steal technology, some people sell technology. So they want to make sure about that. And the United States, I'm sure, will be very ready to help in ensuring that there is data on a lot of bank accounts across the world. The other place is Macau. It's either the Chinese offshore system or the offshore system responsive to the US, which is practically the whole world. I mean, you have Taiwan in between, which is, nobody. It's neither the United States system nor the Chinese system has any jurisdiction or over Taiwan. So if that money is in Taiwan, then there's no obvious way of getting hold of the Taiwanese that don't want to give it to you. But the Chinese also. Prime Minister Modi knew Xi Jinping very well. She has definitely conducted a vigorous anti-campaign, campaign. Let's be honest. Let's give him credit where it's due. Xi Jinping has gone after a lot of tigers. A lot of tigers, not just the flies. The flies don't affect you much. The tigers are the ones who can eat you up. And he has gone after a lot of them. And if you put it to him frankly, look, the Prime Minister puts it to him, look, my old friend, I have these suspicions about these people. Can you help me? I'm very sure that, in practically all the cases, the Macau also will become as transparent as any other tax haven will be if the Americans are given the green light to cooperate. One way would be what we have discussed, and with Dr. Swami his idea of nationalizing all the assets, illegal assets of Indian nationals externally. So supposing you are, let us say, a friend or a relative, but a foreign citizen of somebody in India, and that money, there's a suspicion that it has come, or it is from Dubai or this or somewhere, and you track that money. And these days, as you know, with computers, it's not difficult to track. And I hope blockchain becomes universal, so it becomes even more easy to track. Well, then I can only say, in that situation, frankly, you can find out a lot of what is going on. You can find out a lot of reasons why some actions get taken and some actions don't get taken. And so I am really looking forward to a major spring cleaning. And I see the Chidambaram, episode as, in a sense, the harbinger of that. And I know how difficult it is to get, to it must have been very difficult. And I give full credit to Dr. Swami. The way he has soldiered on is incredible. That's why I respect him so very much. The ways you have soldiered on fighting corruption in India. Why? Because you know, if there is corruption in India, neither can India grow nor can become a really stable country. We need double-digit growth for a generation to be truly stable. And we have to get that growth. And a precondition for that is, frankly, ending corruption. It's not like China, where there was regulated corruption and there was growth. And I'll tell you what I mean by regulated corruption. Regulated corruption is when you have A, B, C. You know, A is the best alternative, C is the worst. And the Chinese chooses A. And then he, gives a hint that, look, I have some children studying family there, or I was thinking of Canada as a retirement home. Can you do something? But he has chosen A. In India, unfortunately, the biggest bribe is usually paid for the worst system. The system which does the most damage and which is the least cost effective. And that is the difference between Chinese corruption and Indian corruption. And that is why it's so important to remove corruption in India. Look at this labor reform kind of thing. It is frankly stopping labor from the benefits of being employees. Today, practically almost every company is largely people are on contract. Who are the companies that have got so-called employees? It's all contract.
That's true.
And if you have at lower levels, you go into organizations that recruit on contract. So everything has gone into contract. There's no protection at all. There's no long-term protection. There's no medium-term protection because of these labor laws. So why some people are supporting these labor laws, I don't know. And I'd like to say, yes, I congratulate every government that is going ahead with this reform without worrying about the background noise. I mean, one can talk about suit boot. See, my point has always been, are you saying that suit boot is bad? Are you saying people should walk barefoot all the time? They should have some rubber sandals at best all the time? Are you saying they should have only a loincloth around their wrist, or maybe some kind of a towel or something around their wrist? Everybody in this country would like to have a suit boot. I certainly, when I come to your part of the world, I don't wear a suit, but I have boots. And I don't see myself as anti-national because of that. I don't wear a lungi, frankly. And I don't think that's being anti-national. And nor do the people who talk about suit boot ka sarkar. I haven't seen them in lungis. I haven't seen them in mundu. I haven't seen them in langotis. I have only seen them in very beautiful designer khadi dress, which is probably khadi polyester or something. So I'm just saying, let's not be, sidetracked by this ambient noise of people who want to keep the corrupt regulations, the corrupt, the corrupt technicalities, and a lot of laws that are plainly out of date still going. Let's not be taken away by that ambient noise. Let's ignore it. I'm very glad that both Prime Minister Modi and the man he has supported, Yogi Adityanath, have refused to listen to this ambient noise.
It's so the takeaway from this talk, viewers, is that we are trying to see some green shoots. We're also seeing the dawn of a new era. The whole world is actually having a dawn, and I think India is beginning to see the merits in taking care of some of the biggest pain points that entrepreneurs have had in the past. And I think we are going to come back and revisit this maybe in about 2 months' time with Professor Nalapat on how fast these things are proceeding forward. But the most important takeaway from all this is India is open for business and it is open for trade. I myself have experienced the amount of talent that is there in India. I use India as talent. I don't anymore look at only the bigger cities. I'm actually getting excellent talent from not even tier 2, but tier 3, tier 4 cities. People really know what it takes. So in conclusion, Professor Nalapat, if you'd like to say a few words before we sign off on today's program.
No, I just want to say that Manipal, which is one of the finest universities in India, a large proportion of its students come from Bihar.
Yes.
And they're among the best students.
Yes. I've worked with many people from Bihar, and I must confess that I have found them to be the smartest. I mean, I don't know what it is, but they are. I never think of them as one employee. There's three people in one.
Next to Malayalis
Yes.
and Haryanvis.
I have not had the pleasure of working with Haryanvis yet, but I'm sure. Yes. So thank you so much, Professor Nalapat, and we'll be back with more such interesting conversations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone. In the current scenario with the spread of COVID-19, the printed books are on the verge of becoming outdated, and e-books are becoming the mainstream way of reading. You can now read our e-book, Who Painted My Money White, comfortably on the Kindle app on your phone or a tab. So now, I'm going to show you how to download Kindle on your phone. Firstly, open Play Store or App Store depending upon your phone. We are following Play Store process, though the process is similar for both Android and iOS. In the search bar, type Amazon Kindle. Tap the first result to open the application page and press Install. Once installed, press Open to start the application. Use your credentials to log in. If you were already logged into an Amazon account, then you will directly reach the welcome page for the app. Tap on Start Reading and then tap on Get Started. Now in the search bar, type the book name or the author name and it will show you the relevant results. Tap on the book and then tap on Read for free. iPhone users can buy the book at a discounted price of just Rs 199. You get a 30 days trial for the app on Android. Tap on the button. On the next screen, press Continue to reach the payment page. After entering your payment details, click on Place Your Order. Once the process is complete, it will show a message saying, "We are setting up your membership." Pressing the cross on the top right corner of the screen will take you back to the book results page. Tap on the book and then tap on Read for free. It will open a new page. Here you can follow the author and then tap on Read Now. It will now open the ebook and you can happily enjoy reading it.